What's up, y'all? LTJ Reads is here. This is Throwing Light, and if you're not throwing light, you're not acting right. We are here for another episode. Before we get started, just want to remind you guys to please subscribe to my YouTube channel. You should be able to find it. The link is down on Instagram at the bottom, or you can just follow this YouTube video from Facebook or however you're receiving it. Please subscribe so you know when new content's coming. There's going to be tons of more Throwing Light episodes. We're coming up to our 150th episode special, which I will be a guest. I have not been a guest on my own show since my birthday of 2024, I believe. So you guys are going to really get a more in-depth look at what I've been up to, and there's some really cool stuff that I'm working on, but we get to talk about that. Other than that, please also find that there are the Throwing Light panels that are coming through this year. We've got all of Texas except for Houston. That's I had to redo. We're redoing Houston. We've got New York coming out this weekend. Then we're going to be having a panel in San Francisco coming up. Then we're going to be at Austin Key Weekend, and I am doing a special collaboration with the POC Caucus at IML. So stay tuned for all that. With all that being said, let's go over and kick it over to Jordan Bailey, who is our Keystone Leather Bear 2025. How are you?
I am doing really, really good. A little exhausted. We just had a Hugs and Kisses Leather weekend with the Keystone Leather family. A little exhausted, but I'm here and I'm happy.
Did you say
How's it
hugs and
going?
kisses?
Yes, yes. We had like a little leather gala where everybody got to dress up and you could wear your leathers or you could just wear, whatever you feel funky and fabulous in. And people came out with some really creative ideas and looks and things. I came out in drag, so that was fun.
Right
Yeah,
on.
we just had like a mid-season gala just to get everybody together and get people hype about our competition, which is in November.
November is the competition. So you're going to be having your step down in November.
Yes, yes, I will be having it in November. It's a little longer than what because we got it in August of last year, but we had to secure just the venue and the different things. But it's a state title, so they want to move it around a little bit. So yeah, it's in November of this year. I don't remember the exact date. I will post it on my Instagram and Facebook though.
Well, we've got some interesting things to talk about. We have two things about you that will actually, there are three things that intersect of you. One of them we have two of them in common. The first thing we
Yes,
have in common is that we are a part of the leather community. You have a leather title,
yes,
I have a leather title. But also that
yes.
you are a bear. I am not a bear, but we are
Okay.
both people of color. So that is a
Yeah.
thing. I
Yes.
believe that we both have black on our certificates, our birth certificates.
Yes.
So yes, so we have some inroads and some challenges that are similar, and we have some that make us unique. I want to just
Mm.
open up and talk about how you got here. Like, how'd you get involved?
Um, my story is very recent, but I guess it would be a story of just passion. I got involved with the leather community. Well, firstly, I got involved with the leather community by um, who was my leather mom, Daddy Elena, who was Miss Philadelphia, and ooh, don't get me the lion. It's sometime in the 90s, but it's like late 90s or 19 or to not 90s, but 2019s or whatever that was. So, but yeah, she was the very first one. She looked at me. We had a friendship, and she was like, I really think you're leather. And I was like, I don't even know what that is or means. And she kind of just left it there and would just drop little hints about leather and leather events and things like that. And she really got me interested in the idea of leather. Because initially I just thought, okay, so you think I would look good in a piece of leather? Great. And she let me understand that it's more than just what you wear, it's about what you do and how you show up in the community. And once I started to learn that, it's one of those aha moments where you look back at her and you go, that's what you meant. Got it. And yeah, so she was the very first person to tell me that I was leather. And I really started to believe her. And I went to MAL. Um, was that 3 years ago, maybe? And I didn't know anything about MAL, and all I heard was DC and it's Mid-Atlantic leather. So I was like, okay, why not? And I went with one of my best friends, James West, and we got a we got a hotel in DuPont Circle because I thought that's where all the gay stuff was, not realizing that it was all the way down on Capitol Hill. So
Mhm.
$30, Uber rides back and forth, which was crazy, but we got there and I could not get in because I didn't have a pass. I didn't know anything about it. And a very fine gentleman by the name of Mufasa Ali, we
Yes.
had been chatting online, just talking, yeah. And he goes, "Well, where are you?" And I was like, "I'm here. but I can't get in." So he says, "Give me like 5 or 10 minutes." So I'm like, okay. So I'm sitting outside. I'm cold. I'm in my, my leather-ish jacket and some jeans. And he comes down in a spandex onesie, like a wrestling set, grabs my hand. He's like, "Come on, let's go. We're going in." So we went in, we got a drink. He introduced me to a lot of people, a lot of friends, Onyx members. And that was the really the catalyst of, okay, I get it. So I'm very blessed to have those two as my leather mom and daddy and mentors in leather. So that's how it started. And then that weekend I also met Jay Tobias, who was an amazing
Other
mentor. And he was,
quad.
talking about his book. Yes, absolutely. And he was talking about his book, and I bought the book, and then he was doing a book tour and it came to Philly, and you know just seeing those individuals and what they were doing in the community with, just leadership and education and really welcoming people with open arms. And on the surface, sometimes you feel like it's just about the costumery of it all and the leather of it all and being sexy and being this. And then when you get in and you have mentors like that and they teach you, no, it's about what you do for this community and helping out your community. That's what got me started and got me to fell in love with it.
It's so great for you to start with that because what a great like end way into being a part of this community is having Mufasa and Tobias, who are in my top. They are in my leather Rushmore actually, for my
Yes.
personal self because I
Yeah.
don't. I have. I think I have matured a lot because of these two people, Mufasa and
Hmm.
Spies. I still have a lot of work to grow, and but I know they care, and I feel seen. I feel appreciated. So they have never. I don't know. I can't explain it to you. I lived a life where like I felt rejected, especially growing up in a predominantly white neighborhood. It was like in two folds. It was like, oh, you're not white enough, you're not black enough. And I just
Right.
always wanted to be able to exist in the space and just be who I was and not have that
Yeah.
challenge so much. And so growing up, it was very difficult for me, and it was a slow like being able to be proud of who I was experience for me. But from the time I became a leather person, which is just in 2022 in August, like that relationship and that fear have gone away, and I've never had to be questioned about my identity. And it's just been a world transforming experience for me being a part of the leather community, and especially to have such not just great mentors in the black community but in the whole community overall, because these men are
Right.
influencing us, and not just black people, they're influencing white people, they're influencing Asians. Like these are really
Yeah.
really like I said, I go back to it, like I know they're making huge impacts and they are changing laws, and these are the type of people. It's not like, look, it's, and especially to be have such prominent post title careers, or
Hmm.
and being, and for in case of Mufasa, being in this organization and helping International Mr. Leather for nearly 30 years. Like it's just kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's such a, it's
Yeah,
I
I do.
you understand the gravity of who these people are. Let me just put it like that. Like
Yes.
these are people that will write about, if we write books a decade from now, but talking about how
Hmm.
we have these mentors, they set an example. They get things done. They do it cool. They do it cool, calm, collected. That's the thing I've been trying to work on is being cool, calm, and collected. You get what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, I do. I do. And like you said, these people have done so much for the community. Community engagement, having somebody like me, I talked about this in my speech, when I was running. I said, my life has always been a matriarchy. I never had strong male figures in my life that was, like my father,
I understand
I knew who
that.
he was and whatnot, but yeah, he was going through his own personal struggles. So
Yeah.
it's been my mom, it's been my aunts, it's been my sisters. And even within the leather community, it was very easy for me to open up to Elena because it was a matriarchal, feeling. And having Mufasa come down and, 'cause he didn't have to do that. We knew each other online, just talking, on Facebook and sharing ideas. And for him to come out and just introduce me to everybody the way that he did. And then for Jay Tobias, when I met him at the closing party, and he's like, "Yeah, and you got to come to my book signing in Philly." And I'm like, "I'm coming," and just that energy. I was like, "Wow, this is it kills the stereotype that you had growing up." Because in my mind, I just never saw that. Right. So now that I'm seeing it in this adult life, I'm like, man, this is beautiful. I got to share this. I got to tell people about this. I got to, people need to know that there are strong figures out here in the community who are doing good, who are giving back. And yeah, I've been very blessed to have that.
I think honestly, the kind of the way I try and I'm known for like expressing all emotions in my life, not just the ups. I
Mhm.
express the downs, sad, happy, sad.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm winning by able to be connected to my feelings and my energy and be able to express that. And a lot of people understand
Right.
that when we hold all our emotions in and we don't express them, it's a cooker. It's a pressure cooker. But
Hmm.
you know
Right.
I look at those two men specifically, and I'm not perfect, but in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to do something that I would have to apologize to them for. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to disappoint them. So
Right.
I walk with that in a positive way on my shoulders, like having things
Hmm.
like, okay, Lewis, are you thinking about are your decisions that you're making, are you aware that they don't just affect you, they affect other people? Like that kind of like, if you do get
Yeah.
upset about something, there's a way to be upset about it. Like I'm still learning and growing, but I would say that I don't want to ever disappoint these two people. So,
Right.
I am growing and I'm maturing and I'm just being open and honest. So I think it's like that's an amazing story. Just getting to meet those two people for you and start out the gate like that because sometimes it's hard to get. I wouldn't say the case, but it's hard sometimes to get access to the mentors. Because they're so popular and they have a lot of people.
Yes.
So for you to come in and have a
Right.
personal connection with them right at the beginning, that just makes it extra special.
Yeah. Definitely.
So what are you
Yeah.
okay, so you're in Philly and
Hmm.
what's up? What's going over there? Like I've never been to Philadelphia, to be honest with you. I want to
Okay.
come,
Okay.
but how is leather culture in Philly? And what about it do you think's unique?
Oh, I think leather culture in Philly has grown, and it has grown in a way that people probably wouldn't have thought maybe 10, 12 years ago. But recently, our leather culture, our one of our main leather bars, I'll just say our main leather bar is the Bike Stop, and it's in a dark alley, and it gives the whole, vibe of, leather bar. It has there's a motorcycle hanging in there, and there's the Philadelphians. They have their group meetups there, and they have their parties there and whatnot. But it's not. it's not a it's not weird to walk in there and see, drag queens in Philadelphia or to see trans women, trans men, pups, pets, kittens, bears. It's one of those weird bars that everybody who probably would feel weird outside would come to and congregate. And that's what makes it special because whatever you identify as or whoever you identify as, it's like there's going to be somebody there that looks at you and says, cool, I got it. Like, and one of the moments that I love about that bar, we have a Bluff Philly, Philadelphia, which is a leather uniform group that, is pretty famous. And I remember some of the community leaders, myself, Bard and Oslo, who were Northeast Pet and Handler, 2024, I think they were, and a couple of other community leaders, Caron Woodrow, and everybody got together and we said, let's just invite everybody to Bluff, and you wear whatever your version of a leather uniform is. And there's a picture that went pretty viral, and it's got just cigar daddies and pets and leathermen and trans women. And it was so amazing to see that because I was like, this is what Philly likes to bring to the table. We like to bring as a come as you are energy, and then a welcoming energy. And that's what I love about Philadelphia, is that it's one of those big cities with a niche, small, gay feel, but it's super welcoming and a lot of fun. A
That's
lot of
that's
fun.
that's
So
that's where Will Smith is from, right?
yes, West Philadelphia, born and
Yeah,
raised.
and
Everybody knows the rest of the song. So
and he is also black and gay, right?
no, he has not come out yet, and we are not going to out him. We are going to let him
I thought he was out.
live the way he wants to
I thought he
live.
was out.
No,
Oh, I thought he
no,
was
Will Smith
out.
is not
Oh,
out. That
well, you
is a
know what movie?
married man.
Look, you know what movie you should watch? You should watch 6 Degrees of Separation. Watch that.
I yes,
Have you
I
seen
I
it?
heard.
You should watch
He
that.
played it no, but I've seen the scene and I've seen some of the scenes and he played it well, but that he's an actor.
I'm not
He's
saying
an
I just
actor.
asked if you saw the movie. I don't know anybody. I don't know these people or anything like that. But what I do
Yeah.
know, I think that I don't think he was comfortable with that role. So, um, it's more of a joke.
Well,
But he did
you
play
got to
a
think
character. But I
he
think
was
it's an
young.
interesting movie to watch, just as what we know about him
Right.
today, and just like he never talks about that movie. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he liked doing it.
Right.
But that
I mean,
goes
I think it was
into
one of the ones he felt he had
being
to do.
even if like hypothetically I mean just anyone, if you are growing up as an African American in the United States,
Hmm.
your sexuality is not going to be it's not going to be an easy win. It's going to be tougher. So
Exactly.
you,
Exactly.
we know, I mean it's just like I don't 100% feel comfortable exposing my family to everything I do. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
now, so be it they are. I hope they can be wise enough to accept all
Hmm.
that comes along with me because this is a lot. And I've put a lot of work into having good relationships with people and being as honest as I can be. And, I'm so, like so open that I
Right.
forget there are people that are still DL or like,
Right.
not out. And
Right.
I keep thinking it's easier to be out today than it was in the 2000s.
Well, right.
I don't
So
know,
in
but
our
that's
world,
that's my mind. Maybe that's not the
right.
reality. You know what I'm saying?
It's well, no, because it is your reality, right? Because I would say the same thing for my life that it's easier to be out right now than it was obviously back in the 90s for me. However, it's one of those things where you want to make sure that people are being met where they are and wherever they're comfortable, even the people that are in the closet for whatever reason that they're in the closet for, people have their own personal, reasons for doing that. And, it's okay. It's okay to also, you know, not be ready. because it is what it is. Now, thank God, my whole family knows. They don't know about everything that I do because it's none of their business.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, but I give them the basics, and they know I'm a title holder. They know I'm busy on the weekends, and I don't think my mom knows that I have done drag, but she'll probably see the pictures or whatever, and I'm like, listen, I had a good time. I'm living my life. I didn't get a chance to tell you what you could or could not do, and you really can't tell me what I can or cannot do. The only thing I ask you to do is love me, and I'm definitely going to do the same. And that's where, sometimes you just have to meet people where they are, because people have their own demon situations, any own rules of how life is supposed to be lived.
Look, I always say me and my mother are meeting each other halfway, but that's a lot of way between.
Right.
But I will say this: look, my mom She grew up when okay, so when she was a senior in high school in 1970, they started desegregation. So
Yes.
they had so it was homecoming time, right? And so you had to vote for homecoming queen. And so my mom was the nominee for basically all the black students. And she's Creole. She grew up in Louisiana. I mean, I'm a
Right.
I'm so it's a little bit more
Yeah.
complicated because you're mixed with all these other things, but you are living a black and what is perceived to be a black life. You know what I'm saying? And so she grew
Right.
up in Bogalusa, Louisiana. So what happened was that there was probably like 4 or 5 candidates, and so the white vote was split. So she ended up winning, and so but they refused to play for her. And so when I was growing up as a kid, I think that had to have been a traumatizing situation for her. And I think she made me super
Right.
sensitive in terms of being around white people. And I don't know how to explain it to you. It was just more or less like my mom is, I grew up in a very strict religious Christian, missionary Baptist Christian home. Back then,
Hmm.
like I couldn't have like a movie poster that was anything horrific. I mean, she wouldn't, there were no boundaries. If my mom didn't like something going on in my room, like she went in and changed it. You know what I'm saying? Like that. And I went to church. Like I had to be in my mom's room to learn the Sunday school lesson. To be like my high school year, my mom was my Sunday school teacher. And when I was
Oh,
12,
okay.
because I had to be so involved in church, I taught children's church when I was in high school. So like I was
Nice.
very involved. But
Okay.
I just wrote a little bit of this series about my life called Lewis the Second I've been doing. One of the things one of the one of the like diary entries of it is called Black on Sundays. And so
Hmm.
when I wasn't at church, I was passing because I was around white people all the time. But when I was church, I tried as best to just be okay with myself, even though I struggle with that. But my experience at my church was amazing. Like looking back at it and looking at today, it just was
Yeah.
it was a positive place for me. No one really judged me. If they did tease me, it was never out of malice. So it's just interesting. For my mom, I feel like there's certain things that I can discuss with her, and I feel like what I'm doing is a lot of it's probably out of her wheelhouse. And my mother's much older. Like she had me when she was in her 30s. So she's a
Okay.
little, she was born at the beginning of the 50s. So, it's there's only so much that we can do,
Right.
because she also has her ideas and her ideas of how things should be presented to the public. And I think it stems back
Right.
to the homecoming situation. So,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Triggers.
Right. I do. I do. I mean, my mom, she was born in the mid 50s. So I think there's a lot of the same similarities there. My mom is also part Creole as well. So there's a lot of similarities there with like the conservatism of, the black church, right? And what that represented for us growing up, and how that was really like a safety hold on, certain traditions. So I totally understand where you're coming from with that, and some of those traditions they're not going to break
My
easily,
mom does
or at
not
all.
like sex, and that's the biggest barrier, bro, because we do not talk about sex, and
Yeah.
it's never
Oh,
happened.
I don't either.
That's yeah, it's never happened. When I was going through some stuff in high school, she'd be like, "You want me to call your dad?" I'm like, "No," and I didn't even like. I don't have a relationship with my father, and he was. I grew up
I
where my
understand.
mom was the dominant figure and the breadwinner,
Hmm.
and my dad was an abusive alcoholic gambler, so I had to go through that. And so my mom, it's just so complicated. But me as a leather person, and when see, this is what really brought us together is that I used to be a crystal meth addict, and me overcoming that actually just repaired everything. And I think they rather just see me
Hmm.
happy right now than me strung out on drugs.
Yeah.
So I don't know what
Right.
question, but my mom and my older sister, I don't, this is not some, they have to ask the questions. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They may never
Right.
know.
I
I
know.
don't
I
know.
understand that. Right, and that's the thing, and that's why I said, you kind of you have to kind of meet people where they are because sometimes people will not, get over that situation. Sometimes, I don't know. It's just one of those things where I extend grace to people because you never know what they went through and why they are the way they are.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
yeah.
There
So
used to
it
be,
is what it
that's why
is.
we watch TV shows and things like that. We follow characters and we want to see their arc. You know what I'm saying? We all have a character arc,
Yes,
right?
yes, absolutely. What would you say is your character art other
Oh
than
my God. So
your
in
fantastic
terms,
theories?
in It is that is a bit of a character arc. Like I
I
definitely
believe it
would
is.
be my friends used to joke around about they'd be like, Lewis, if you ever had a character of your on a TV show, they would have to be played by multiple characters because they were like, it's unbelievable the amount of stuff that's happened to you. They said they would have to create three different characters to carry the amount of crap I've been through. And that's
Right.
why I get really caught off guard when people have this idea of jealousy or envy towards me because I'm like, you're not seeing like the like made for ready. My story is an Academy Award winner waiting to be shot because I have been through some crap and some very unique
Hmm.
perspectives. And so for my character arc, like geez, of like my whole life, you think?
Well, yeah, or at least up until this point, or even your leather journey.
I think for my leather journey, I think it's been about being seen as a whole person, but as authentically a rebel with the right causes. And I
Hmm.
think that even me throwing light is an act of rebellion right now because that's not what people are trying. You know what I'm saying? I am.
Right, I do.
It's if I had to just, and I know it's cliche. I, I would say my character arc is, being the rebel with the cause, the rebel with the light. Like,
Right.
I think that summarizes it because I do feel like I'm working against culture for sure, and it is tiring
Hmm.
and it's exhausting because, I was just talking to like maybe one of my first mentors when I lived in Louisiana. I was the first gay pride president there, and he really helped me out. And I was going through a lot, but I was just telling him how, the struggle I still have, I think, being a part of any community is that when you put yourself into a community, you are taking on not only your problems, but the community's problems. And
Yes.
I'm facing this, and it's not at all pessimism, but a realism that it's really hard to go inside and especially where there are toxins and try to be an
Mhm.
antidote. And I think that
Right.
what it has to be is that you have to also be able to step outside the community for your own mental health and be able to
Hmm.
know when you need to dip in and when you dip out. And this is something that
Right.
I had to learn over a long period of time. So I'm down here in Texas. It's not my responsibility to unify Texas. It's only I can do so much. But I
Mm.
can, there's so many of us that are inside that still feel outside. And I feel like that's who my
Right.
people are. Like we want to fit in, but we don't want to have to be one thing. We don't want to have to be ironed down as, oh, we're leather people and ABC. That's what I just think at the end of the day, I think I am the fighter for people that just want to be left alone, honestly. I don't want to have to go
Mhm.
and explain all these things that ultimately shouldn't matter. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
that
I do
message
understand that.
transcends leather people. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, look, just like I said in my last interview, I think with Guy Woods, just the last one I just did. And I just talked about struggling. Like that's the one thing we all have in common, struggling. And it looks different
Right.
for different people. And I say, even
Right.
if someone doesn't think they're struggling, that they're wealthy or privileged and they don't know that they still are struggling because we're trying to be ourselves and money can't cover that
Right.
up. It doesn't matter. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? We all are on that journey and we are doing
Right.
things as human beings to each other that make our ability to be self actualized possible.
Hmm. Right. I totally understand where you're coming from, specifically when you were saying about, the community and being exhausted. I try to make as many events that I can make, just for community engagement, showing up for people, just being there, trying to document it, so people know, hey, these things are going on in your neighborhood, in your backyard, and specifically around the state of Pennsylvania. But it does get tiring, and one of the things that I had to learn is that I had to be able to create a safe space that I can always go to kind of reel me back in and bring me back down to earth. I have that with my pack, the Leatherhound pack. The two alphas in it are Buster Leatherhound and Snuggles Leatherhound. And we've had many, many phone calls at night where I'm just like, I will get out my frustrations with them, and they understand that, oh, I'm just venting. I just need to release it because I don't want to release that on somebody who doesn't deserve that. You know what I'm saying? So it's yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, I don't want to
And
release
you
that
saying that,
energy.
I
So it's
realize that I've been guilty of that in the past and not realizing that, you know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? I have, but
Right, and
like
that's what's
not
great,
like,
right?
but no. Okay, I feel it. So when you say your pack, like, everyone's a leather hound?
Yeah, so in my pack, we're all leather hounds. We have so I'm a delta, so I'm not an alpha or a beta or an omega in the pack. I'm a delta, so I'm basically like a great uncle or like a mentor to everyone. They normally don't make big decisions in the pack without speaking to myself and also Cortez Onyx, who is also a delta in our pack. And we uplift. Our goal is to uplift and enrich the community, one family at a time. And we've set up a pet night in South Amboy, New Jersey, for community engagement, just to get people out and get people to know each other and be together in spaces. And yeah, we try to do that, and that's definitely one of the best things that's happened to my life and my leather life is, being able to have a home that I can go to. And I actually have two. I'm very, very blessed because I also have a group of kinksters called the Pantheon. And myself, and Laser Onyx, we're the Pantheon brothers. We are the leaders of that group. And, we set up kink events and we're trying to get an ADA compliant kink space. We had one in Philly, but it didn't work out well. So we're trying to find another space. But, we're trying to do community engagement on the kink side, and then with my other pack, we're doing it on the pet and pup side, and as well as the family side. So, trying to pour that back into the community because this is a community that I have seen eat people all the way up. And, thank God for, of course, my mentors as well, Elena and Mufasa Ali, and as well as J Tobias, that I can go to them and say, I'm exhausted, or I can go to them and say, how are you doing? And just them saying, I'm good, but how are you doing? That, people don't understand how much that takes a bit of weight off of you, just being able to just and see something familiar. So I definitely encourage, people to just try and find a safe space if you can. And if you can't find one, come out to one of our events. We have so many people that are connected to us that are not specifically in the pack, but just connected to us through different things. And, we try to help and enrich the community because you can't do a lot of this on your own. You have to uh, be able to have open arms and open minds about things, and it helps. It helps keep me grounded, and I hope to do that, to do the same for the community.
Okay, so
So,
getting towards the end here. Jordan,
Mhm.
I ask everybody the same question usually, unless there's something thematic going on. But what is one
Okay.
aspect of our community that you feel we're not sharing enough light on, shedding enough light on?
Um, Making sure that our spaces are ADA compliant. We should not have a major leather event without an interpreter. There should always be a rail or an elevator option for people who are wheelchair bound. Um, I'm hoping that with my platform moving forward, that I can help assist in moving that needle forward. Because our community, if we're going to be open to everything and everyone it has to be accessible to everyone. So I try to make sure that I lead with that. And also I want to see more people of color in a situation where we are not the accessory, but we can also be the feature, if that makes sense. I try to look at, ads and things like that and say, we could have had another black person, or you know what, we could have had an Asian person, we could have had a Latino person, could have had somebody, who is not represented in this. Because if you want us all there, if you want our dollars, you want our money, make sure that we are at least on your print ad, or something. So that's really what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to work on, and it's a fight, and it's not just me. The good thing about it is that fight is not just me. It's a lot of people who are fighting for that as well. Namely, so David Sugar, I know he does a lot in the ADA compliant space and disability space. So that will be helpful.
I agree 100%. It's like talked about on the show, like we've also got to think of people ADA as kinksters too, and people that also want to be
Yes.
looked at and as sexual beings and not people with that
Hmm.
don't have like they think about sex just like everybody else. I think we have to kind of
Right.
speak on that a little bit more for that cause, just because everybody has that drive that is usually there at these
Mhm.
events or to learn or whatever, and so we should always be very cognizant that if we're going to be inclusive, it goes beyond just our sexuality. It goes beyond our gender and all of that. You know what I'm saying? There are physical
Right.
things that we need to include. I think that's really interesting. I want to see Black people be able to be in a it's the difference, and I'm going to end it here. It's the difference between watching Friends, the TV show Friends, and the show Living Single. Okay, have you seen Living Single
Right.
before? Okay, so if you
Oh,
know
oh,
that
oh, yes.
Friends pretty much took the template of Living Single and became this like 10 season show where all the actors were getting $1 million.
Right.
And then you have Living Single, not making that much money, being a pioneer in television, having a cast of all
Hmm.
Black women and 2 Black men that show personalities and differences. Like,
Hmm.
I want to see us, and then I don't want the Black ideas to be taken by the white or non-Black top entities and then being resold to
Right.
the Black community. I want that like distance taken away. I want to see. I know we have
Right.
Black billionaires, but I want to see Black people succeed and not just having to create a Black studio to succeed, if that makes sense. I want them to
Exactly.
be
Exactly.
overseers of the big game. And I think
Right.
that's what we are purposely being excluded from that kind of power. Like
Mhm.
that
Right.
should be causing it to at least people of color that we are not given access to that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And it's one of those clear as day type deals, but you're like, how is it that you can sell it this way? It's a mega hit. And we're like, we've already had this. And you could have continued with these people and made a mega hit with them. But
exactly.
you know,
Look
I hear
how
what
they
you're
were
saying.
redoing songs back in the 50s and stuff, just taking the black
Oh
song, making a
yeah.
white version. It's crazy to me that we don't like talk about the so blatant things in front of us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Right.
stealing
Right.
culture is what the United States is.
Exactly. And then you have an administration that is in Philadelphia tearing down the slave narrative, trying to basically erase it as if it never happened.
Yeah,
And it's almost ridiculous to me that, there is a level of outrage, but I'm looking at it like, could you imagine if a group of black leaders covered up the Liberty Bell and melted it to make it seem like that never happened? Oh, there would be an outrage. There would be mutiny. And I'm just like, you're doing that to the American story. The American story, you cannot erase Black people from the American story. We are a part of American history. We are a big part of American history, and the main reason why this country is so rich. And we're not even asking, or we're not even trying to retaliate and get back what's ours. We just want you to treat us like we're humans, like we're equals. And it bothers me that this new administration is trying to wipe us out. I will say we have a good push in the gay community, not as good as it needs to be, but a good push of basically saying we're not standing for that. And I know a lot of my close friends are like, even the small thing like the ads for parties, they're like, if you're going to show nothing but the what you consider your norm, why would we go to that? Because my friends look like the colors of the rainbow. Why would I want to just go and see the same person over and over again? So it's a battle, it's a fight, but it's a fight that needs to happen, and everybody needs to know what's happening.
it's quite simple. Their tactic is out of sight, out of mind. So they think if they take it
Yeah,
all away, that it'll go away. We're in Black
yeah,
History Month, and it's not being celebrated like it normally has been. Think about that. Like, I mean, I'm fully aware it's Black History Month, but like,
right.
what do? You just, I don't think we stop. I think that everything that we were doing monthly, if it was monthly, needs to keep going because this is just a
We
temporary. All right,
Yes,
Jordan, there is one thing left for you to do. Are you ready? You're going to
I'm
close
ready.
out the show. All right. You're going to say, if you're not throwing light, you're not acting right. Okay. All right.
Yep.
One, two, three.
If you're not throwing light, you're not acting right.
There we go. Coming from Philly, where it might be slightly cooler. Thank you so much, Jordan, for being on the show. Thank you, everybody, for watching this episode of Throwing Light. And you will see some more of Jordan as he was a part of the Throwing Light New York panel. And we are going to hear what Jordan has to say this weekend. So stay
Yes.
tuned. Bye, y'all.
All right.